Yeah, Amanecer. You won't have
yo voy a cantar esta canción para mi gente.
Bueno, pues muy buenas tardes. Nosotros somos la Academia de Mariachi Nuevo Amanecer. Vamos a tocarles unas canciones. Espero que sean de su agrado y se diviertan un ratito. Vamos a cantar esta canción movidita, a ver si alguien, unos caballeros sacan a las damas a bailar un ratito.
Ya llegué de donde andaba. Se me concedió volver. A mí se me figuraba que no te volviera a ver. Pareces amapolita cortada al amanecer. Pareces amapolita cortada.
Bueno, ahora vamos a tocarles una bonita canción para todas las mujeres aquí presentes. Mujeres divinas.
Hablando de mujeres y traiciones, se fueron consumiendo las botellas. Vieron que cantara mis canciones y yo canté unas dos en contra de ellas. De pronto que se acerca un caballero de una dama, pudiéramos morir en las cantinas y nunca lograríamos olvidarlas. Mujeres, oh mujeres tan divinas, no queda otro camino que adorarlas. Mujeres mujeres, oh mujeres tan divinas, no queda otro camino que adorarla.
Yo sé bien que estoy afuera, pero el día en que yo me muera, sé que tendrás que llorar.
Llorar y llorar, llorar y llorar.
Dirás que no me quisiste, pero vas a estar muy triste y así te me vas a quedar. Con dinero, sin dinero, yo hago siempre lo que quiero y mi palabra es la ley, pero sigo siendo el rey. Bueno, pues vamos a tocarles una última canción, esta bonita canción, México lindo y querido.
Estaba diciendo que son jóvenes, son muy jóvenes. Allá está, güey. Estás lento, mi chavo, estás lento ya.
Al despertar la mañana, quiere cantar su alegría a mi tierra mexicana, que digan que estoy dormido y que me traigan aquí, que digan que estoy dormido y que me traigan aquí. México lindo y querido, si muero lejos de ti. Que de los mañales y que me cubre esta tierra es una de hombres cabales. Al despertar la mañana quiere cantar a mi tierra. México lindo y querido, si muero lejos de ti, que digan que estoy dormido y que me traigan aquí, que digan que estoy dormido y que me traigan aquí. México lindo y querido, si muero lejos de
Qué chulos ojos, los que tiene esa linda joven que estoy mirando. Qué miradita es tan bonita. Su hermosura me ha deslumbrado por sus encantos.
Yo quería me
Es tan bonita. Yo le voy a hablar de amores. Qué chulada de mujer. Qué cuerpo, qué cara, qué ojitos bonitos, ojitos que provocan el fuego de mi amor. Qué cuerpo, qué cara, qué ojitos chiquitos, ojitos que provocan el fuego de mi amor.
Eso. Nuevamente, muchas gracias por la invitación. Nos gustaría quedarnos más tiempo.
Oh my God. I'm gonna jump and hopefully it looks
people's liberation. Give yourselves a round of applause.
Toda mi gente de Sunset Park está aquí para los mexicanos, para los colombianos, para los puertorriqueños, para todos queremos la liberación de todos, para eso estamos aquí. Muchas gracias a todos los que han venido hoy a la plaza. Esta plaza se ha convertido en algo que en realidad es It's undescribable. Sorry, I'm gonna do a little Spanish. Thank you to everybody who's here, who came to the plaza. We do this every Sunday. We do this in solidarity with the street vendors that are over there across. Because we only do this once a week, but they're here 7 days a week. And those 7 days, let me tell you, they get harassed, if not by the NYPD, by the Parks Police, by anybody who has a badge and thinks that they can do whatever they want to our people. Because it's been normalized. A lot of things have been normalized. And we're here to denormalize and to create our new communities, the communities that we want to see for ourselves and for our future, for our children, for our nieces. So muchas gracias a todos los que están aquí. Esta Plaza Tonatiuh la hacemos cada fin de semana, cada domingo. Lo hacemos en solidaridad con los vendedores ambulantes, los que se encuentran allá, los que se encuentran en la Quinta, los que se encuentran en todos los lugares de Nueva York, que aunque ahorita supuestamente la policía no está dando tickets, pero sabemos que la policía los acosa. Y cuando no es la policía, cuando no es el NYPD, es la policía de los parques. Nosotros lo hemos visto, que les tiran las cosas. Ellos no tienen respeto para nuestra gente, pero nosotros sabemos que nuestra gente es digna y se merece el respeto que nosotros sabemos que nos merecemos. Entonces, para eso es que hacemos esa plaza, para empezar a normalizar eso en nuestra comunidad. Muchas gracias, perdón. Gracias.
Give it up one more time for Mexicanos Unidos. As you heard, they're here every single week, mobilizing in their community. And just like many of you already know from coming to Within Our Lifetimes protests, and I forgot to introduce myself. I'm Nadine from Within Our Lifetime. If you've been coming out to our protests, if you came last week in Bay Ridge, if you've been coming all summer to the protests we've had for Palestine, before it was a trend, while everyone thought it was trendy, but you're still here after people started dying out or not coming, then you know that we are mobilizing every single week under the name of Globalize the Intifada. In today's action, we're joining with Mexicanos Unidos, just as we joined a few weeks ago when we took over Sunset Park and shut down the streets of Brooklyn, protesting on July 4th against the so-called American independence, while our people still live under oppression, while our people are not independent, are not liberated, are not free from the shackles of colonialism, Zionism, white supremacy, and capitalism. Every week we are joining with different communities, just as we joined Kensington with the Bangladeshi community for Palestine, and just like we'll be doing week to week to week, because we want people to understand that our struggles are inextricably connected, that they are tied together, that our liberation comes together, not just morally, but scientifically, practically. The only way we can truly fight our oppressors is if we join together. Our oppressors are joined together. They're having meetings, they're having conventions, sharing crowd control tactics, sharing weapons, manufacturing weapons that get sold all over the world to crush movements, to crush people fighting against oppression. They're coming together. They even come together at the United Nations sometimes and decide which countries they want to bomb, which countries they want to reprimand for human rights violations, and which countries get a free pass. That's what they do. So how do we think that we can fight them if we're not coming together? That doesn't even make sense. So the only way we can truly fight for Palestinian liberation is if we understand that our uprising, that our fight, that our struggle, that our intifada is global. And we have to take that understanding and spread it all over the world, and that's what Globalize the Intifada is all about. We want to bring you to understand the struggles of other communities if you're already fighting for Palestinian liberation, because you should be fighting for the liberation of all oppressed people. And if you come from an oppressed background, you too understand that without Palestinian liberation, we cannot have the liberation of anyone else in the world. Zionism is responsible for some of the worst atrocities, not just against Palestinians, but against all people. Whether it's a Zionist entity being one of the last countries in the world to support apartheid South Africa, whether it's the fact that so many dictatorships in Latin America got their weapons from the Zionist entity, from the Zionist regime, from so-called Israel to kill their people, or whether it's the police forces in the U.S. going to Israel to train with the cops there, with the Israeli army there to come back and kill black people here in this country. They share those tactics together. That's what they do. So how do we think we can fight them if we're not standing together?
Yeah.
And if you've been paying attention to Palestine, you understand that the heart of this struggle comes from our martyrs, our people on the ground who are fighting, giving their lives, giving their bodies every day. And you see just a fraction of their pictures over there that we have framed over here. Just a fraction of some of the Palestinians that died in just the last several months alone. Because they are living under genocide. They are living under ethnic cleansing. Because that is the only way that settler colonialism functions. And we have seen that happen here in the U.S. in this country. When indigenous people on this land were killed. That is how settler colonialism functions. That is how they take over a country, a nation. They have to kill its inhabitants. They have to bury them. That is what they're doing in Palestine. And that is why the call to globalize the Intifada is so imperative. And it has been. For over 73 years we've been facing this. So we can't just post pictures and videos of Palestinians dying, of them getting shot. We have to do something about it. We have to educate. We have to agitate. We have to organize. And we have to let people know what's going on in Palestine. So again, thank you for joining us today. We're doing a photo campaign to show the people of Palestine that the martyrs are not forgotten. If you haven't done so already, please come up here. We'll be taking pictures throughout and towards the end as well of people holding the photos of Palestinian martyrs. We'll be posting them to show that people in New York, people here in Brooklyn know their names, see their faces, hear their stories, and that their lives are not forgotten. They did not die in vain. Palestine will be free from the river to the sea, every single inch of it. That is what they died for. That is what we've been fighting for. And that is the only thing that will bring peace, because you will never have peace without justice. We'll be doing political education. We're giving out zines. We have Decolonize this place in the house as well. Right here, zines, stickers, everything, an organizing manual. And if you get the zines, on the back of it, we have a schedule of actions that we're going to be doing every single week for Palestine until we culminate to a great day of action on September 17. Save the date, tell your friends, and come out for Palestine, not just when it's a trend, not just when it's in the news, but until all of it is free. Thank you.
Decir un poquito lo que dijo Nerdino en español. Algo que todos sabemos es que los de arriba, todos están unidos. La gente que nos oprime día a día en nuestros trabajos, aquí, local, si vemos las noticias nacionales, internacionales, todos ellos están unidos. Y nosotros a veces nos encontramos en tanta desunión que tal vez uno al otro nos oprimimos unos a los otros. No nos queremos porque pues esa persona es un poquito más morena que yo, o X persona me dijo eso de la otra. Pero es importante que nos empecemos a unir, porque la unión hace la fuerza, y eso ya muy bien lo sabemos. Hoy aquí estamos. Sorry, I got choked up. Estamos aquí para Palestina y para todos los diferentes grupos que están oprimidos, pero aquí los compas de Within Our Lifetime Palestine van a estar dando educación política. Aquí tienen fotos de gente que ha sido matada por los israelíes. Por favor pasen, y si tienen preguntas, aquí están nuestras mesas, nos pueden preguntar. Muchas gracias.
I also just want to talk a little bit about the significance of today. As many of you know, or this weekend, that we are commemorating the 76th anniversary of the U.S. bombing of the Japanese city of Hiroshima on August 6, 1945, and what was the first act of genocide carried out with nuclear weapons in history. Of course, that was carried out by no other than the United States. The bomb contained the equivalent of 15,000 tons of TNT, massacred tens of thousands of people instantly, and destroyed an area of 5 square miles. By the end of 1945, the death toll in Hiroshima rose to an estimated 140,000 people. And days later, of course, on August 9, 1949, President Harry Truman ordered the U.S. war machine to drop a second atomic bomb on the Japanese city of Nagasaki, which resulted in the mass murder of another 75,000 Japanese people. In 1948, the same year as the Nakba, and just 3 years after Hiroshima and Nagasaki, the Zionist entity began its nuclear weapons program on stolen Palestinian land. And by the late 60s, the Zionist occupation developed its own nuclear weapons after years of direct and indirect U.S. support and support from France. By 1979, Israel approached apartheid South Africa, the government, with an offer to sell them nuclear weapons. And while the deal didn't go through, South Africa would go on to provide much of the yellow cake uranium that Israel required to develop its nuclear arsenal. From apartheid state to apartheid state. So when we look to both the past and the present, we see clearly that the global struggle to ban nuclear weapons is one and the same as the global struggle against racism, settler colonialism, imperialism, and Zionism. And that's why we're gathering here today as well, to remind people of the need to oppose U.S. imperialism, of the havoc that it has caused and continue to cause around the world. We know that the U.S. provides $3.8 billion in military aid annually to Israel. That's $10 million a day from your tax money, going to fund bullets ending up in the chests of Palestinian children. So yes, we are responsible, and yes, we are complicit, unless we speak out against it. This is why we chant from Palestine to the Philippines. Y'all know the rest of that? From Palestine to the Philippines.
U.S. war machine.
From Palestine to the Philippines.
Stop the U.S. war machine.
From Palestine to the Philippines.
Stop the U.S. war machine.
From Palestine to the Philippines.
Stop the U.S. war machine.
And we highlight the Philippines in solidarity with our Filipino comrades, fighting for genuine socialism and fighting for revolution against bureaucrat capitalism, against U.S. imperialism on their land. That's why we shout from Palestine to the Philippines. We also chant from Palestine to Mexico.
Palestine to Mexico.
No, what's the continuation? I want to see if you guys know this. From Palestine to Mexico.
All the walls have got to go.
From Palestine to Mexico.
All the walls have got to go.
From Palestine to Mexico.
All the walls have got to go.
The apartheid wall and the so-called border, right? Between U.S. and Mexico, between Palestine, we know all of Palestine is Palestine, but between what they call so-called Israel and Palestine, the wall there as well. This was actually manufactured or manned by people from the same company. While G4S is not in Palestine anymore, or so they claim not to be, they are one of the same security systems that the U.S. uses on its borders. The private prisons that the U.S. uses on its borders, it's the same company that was used in Palestine to imprison Palestinians, to arrest them. We quite literally have the same enemy. So it's not just a chant to connect our struggles because we feel they are connected, and we know they are. We know that. But it's also because, again, these are the direct ways that our oppressors are tied. So I want people to just reflect on this day, this moment, and understand the connections that we have together. And understand why our fight isn't global just because we say it is, but it truly is. And throughout these weeks when we meet together, we will commemorate these days. We will understand the struggles of other communities to demonstrate that the Intifada truly is global. And as we do this, it's not just a distant memory or a recent memory of Palestinians dying. We're updating on our page. Sometimes we don't get the chance to post all of them because there are just so many martyrs, because Israel continues to genocide Palestinians with impunity. As this happens, more and more are being killed every day. Just last week, 4 children in 1 week. And one of the children that were killed, who was 11 years old, who was shot on the way to the grocery store with his father, on the way back from the grocery store with his father. At his funeral, Israeli soldiers came again, attacked Palestinians mourning, opened fire, and killed another Palestinian at the funeral of an 11-year-old Palestinian. They killed a 20-year-old. They don't even let us mourn in peace. They don't even let us have that. They don't even let us bury our dead without giving us another martyr, without giving us another person to mourn, without reminding us that they are living stolen on our land. They are living on our land that they stole from us, and that they will kill us to do that, and that they've been killing us to do that. And the U.S. pays for this. You guys all pay for this. I know you don't want to, but that's why we have to counteract that with our words. We have to counteract that with coming out for Palestine. We have to counteract that with supporting organizations fighting for Palestinian liberation. That is the only way that we can fight our own complicity in Palestinian oppression. And we have to do that for other struggles as well. Because we also fund the New York Police Department that kills black people with impunity, that still conducts broken windows policing, that still incarcerates people in this system that is meant to be the continuation of slavery. This is why if we don't speak out against these things, we can't say that we're actually for Black Lives Matter or for Palestinian liberation or that we're against oppression. Because our money is going to fund the opposite of that. So we don't just say it when it's a trend. We have to fight it continuously and until it's gone totally and completely, until these systems are abolished, until all of our people are free from the river to the sea. Woo! Again, I want folks to pick up organizing manuals, the zines that we're talking about. It has the chants that we're chanting. It has the schedule of protests that we're doing. And we want people to get stronger, to get smarter, to learn about this, not just by sharing a post on social media, but understanding what it means to get organized, what it takes, and why we have to be out here for Palestine. Yeah. Woo!
when we organize these kind of events, we have some kind of responsibility for the people we bring together. When you go against the state, you need to be cautious. There's something in Arabic that we often would say in Palestine, it just means confidence doesn't eliminate caution. So we need to build these relationships in our life and in our society and in affinity groups that we make and whatever. Why do I say all this? Because when we organize events, we give the mic to the people we know and the people we trust because we want the kind of politics in this space. We build over time.
The film that I